Uh, Thank you, Raj and the team for having me. It's a whirlwind. Oh wow, I look young there. It's a whirlwind weekend. It's a crazy one, to be honest. I had a keynote yesterday, and a wonderful dinner party for a town gentleman who turned 100 last night. Party where I usually don't eat like one serving. The food was phenomenal. Me and Rajan went for second serving, like heap of food like this, like a Mount Kilimanjaro. And went to bed at 12 something, and I gotta tell you,
I want to know.
it's like a lead balloon inside me. And then I had to go to a wedding this morning, Tamil wedding, with all my well-meaning authoritarian auntie and uncles trying to make me eat, which I refused. And so I haven't had nothing to eat all day. Then I had this 2 glasses of wine and just hit me. So, hence the water. So I was just, coming today, Sunday, obviously JSK is on. I don't like to drive to downtown. I used to drive every day to work, not too far from here. Took the train, and then some lady says, "Go, Jace, go." I said, "I'm not going to the game." She goes, "Oh, you're dressed like you're going to the game." I was like, "Are you kidding me? I have to go and talk to somebody, and then they're going to give me some wine and free food." She goes, "Oh, that sounds like fun." I said, "Yeah, you have fun." So you just walked away. And I'm thinking in the train, what am I going to talk about? Because I look around the room here, clearly there are people who have achieved great heights and have done great things to society. So I'm not going to preach to you about, oh, you got to give and you got to do these things and whatnot. But watching the videos, and I was thinking, okay, now I can sort of craft a narrative around what I want to talk about. And you gave me 30 minutes, and nobody wants to listen to another human being. I'm going to try to sum it up in 15, hopefully. But really, first of all, thank you all for coming. I mean, the hardest thing to do is to really get into nice clothes and finding a place to come to, which is hard. But the fact that you're here tells me that clearly you have a certain objective and attributes in life that many don't have. And I'm going to share a couple of stories that are personal, but it's relatable. I remember when I was about 16 in Sri Lanka. O levels, I barely passed. And A levels, I never took it because I had to leave. And I remember I was at a park not too long ago. My former school, elderly gentleman, but same school, he asked me this one question: "What was your A-level results?" I said, "Thank God I left before I sat for A-level. You're going to be 4 flags, F, right?" But that spoke to the video of what we watched, because if you don't enter university in Sri Lanka, you end up being in my case, I was supposed to be a postmaster. There's nothing wrong with it. You got pension and, all that stuff. But it's not the life that I want to lead. And war happened, we all came, some were born here because of the war, some came here because of the war. And another thing that spoke to me about the video, about that young lady saying how she was afraid to talk in front of people, how she was in her shell, and she was nervous being in front of stage. So I came here at the age of 18, just like many, they're very young, with nothing except just heart full of hope. That's it. And no skills. I happened to get a job not too far from here. Am I going in the right direction? 401 Bay Street? Yeah. That way? Okay. Yeah, I had 2 glasses of wine. I remember I was cleaning a building, 44 King Street West, which is the Scotiabank building in King and Bay. That office would have been bigger than Andrew's establishment here, like massive, with wine fridge, boardroom, couches. I was just a kid cleaning the room. I was thinking, why can't I aspire to this? What would stop me from doing this? So I quit everything I did. I had a factory job, security guard job, and a cleaning job. And I thought I should try to find my dream on Bay Street, because they said that's where the action is. Got a job at 401 Bay Street. Some nice lady gave me a job, even though I was absolutely not qualified. And you meet people in life that inspire you. I think what you're trying to do, or we are all here for, is to get these young people to get inspired by what is possible and what is not. When I was 16 years old, my mom's uncle told me, you will amount to nothing in life. You're the dumbest kid I know, you'll amount to nothing in life. It broke my heart. It's the worst thing to say to a kid. Even if he thought I was dumb, maybe I was, but why verbalize that? So I think we come from a culture sometimes, a little too blunt. We only reward the smart. Smart isn't just passing exams. Smart is winning in life. But that requires soft skills. I didn't know anything about soft skills when I came to Canada, personally speaking. And I happen to have great mentors who have taught me how to behave in a room. It was a tough lesson, but I think I was willing to be coached by these people. And that's when I realized that maybe I don't have to be an engineer. I don't have to be a doctor. I could do other things to pursue a career, which is what taught me one thing in life, and I tell kids this all the time. I said last night, or it's in the afternoon, is that do not follow your passions. It's the biggest bullshit ever. Figure out what you're good at and turn that into the passion. So everybody in this room and beyond this room has something they're good at. And you got to double down on what you're good at and forget about what you're bad at. I never worked on, when people say work on your weakness, why the fuck do I do that? You hire people to work on your weakness. If I have a team, I'm good at strategy, I want somebody who's in administration. That's it. I'm not going to work on administration. So I think these are the things that we never learn in Sri Lanka. And I'm a big supporter of the Flag Forum you mentioned. This was Francis. The reason I do that type of help, and I know everybody does different things for different reasons. I can tell you why I do certain things and why I support Rajan, is that we need to have transformational change with kids and in Sri Lanka, especially northeastern provinces, not transactional change. Because the charity requests I get, believe me, we all get that on a weekly basis. They're all about, we're going to dig a well. We're going to feed the kid for his or her birthday to 500 students. Those things are nice, but they're very transactional. It does not leave long-term impact. Skill development, empowering somebody, those things are long-lasting, and they can become an asset to a kid that can take them. Like when I heard that young woman said she's a lecturer at this university, those things are massive. They're massive, and then she can go on to empower other people. It's a very pyramid effect. So I'm never for trying to support something transactional. I say no to every single one of those requests. Anything that's transformational. And then second thing, the condition is, I want someone who's on the ground, inspecting it, understanding what is happening. This is what Rajan does, and some other people also do that. It's very important for us to make sure that, we are not just doing these things. I know donating money is altruistic, right? It's also very selfish. Makes you feel good. But when you're feeling good about this, maybe it's better to donate the dollars where you can have a massive impact on transformational change. And I would say, there are only three things we can give back when we can give back: time, money, expertise. The easiest thing to give is money. Time is the hardest thing. Expertise is probably the second hardest. And I think every single one of us here possess at least one or all three. So I think it would be good for us to think about these type of projects, what Aravanai is doing, Rajan and his team, to think about what's the best impact it will have for the people that we left behind. Because there are many of me and many of you that was left behind that could have done way better than, I can tell you, I had to pinch myself to see how did I even come here this far. Because it takes just people to empower you. And one of the reasons I got into a little bit of philanthropy late in my life is that the nice gentleman I met, Raymond Chang, Gladstone Raymond Chang, Jamaican immigrant who came to Canada. And back in the 80s, late 80s, you can still smoke in the office. So I used to stay late at night to do my math homework because I was doing night school. And he was a math genius. The guy had engineering degrees, CFA, MBA, CA. Like the card had no room for his designation. The Ray's office used to be where that room is, and my cubicle would be where Juan is sitting. And I could smell the smoke. And then I couldn't afford cigarettes, clearly. And he would come in, and I would look at my algebra question or whatever, and he would be smoking behind me. He's like, "I'm embarrassed for you." I've looked at it for 30 minutes. I couldn't figure it out. And he'll say, "Pep, pep, 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 done." He said, "Kid, think about solution, not the answer." Because I was just looking for, what's the answer for this question? He said, just look for the path to solution. And that was incredible. And one day he said to me, I was in a basement living in Scarborough, very dark. It's a very good metaphor for my life at the time. And he said to me, "I understand you moved into an apartment." I said, "Yes, I did, Ray." And he goes, "Do you have furniture?" I said, "No." That's why I do my homework here, because I couldn't sit up and do anything. He said, "Is that so?" He went to his office. Next day, I came to my office. There was a $5,000 check in an envelope written by Ray Chang's signature. I still remember that. So I went up to him and I said, "Ray, this is too much. I can't." It's a lot of money for a kid who was making $14,000 a year. And I said to Ray, I was tearing up, and I said, "How do we ever repay you?" He said, "You know, you do something to someone else like I did to you. That's how this goes." So for every one of you in this room, the legacy of us is about somebody else did something to us is why you're here. Whether it's your parent, maybe you're a motivator, someone who got you here in life. And I have plenty of people I can name all night. And we all have some person, some guardian angel that got us here. The best way to do this is to pay it forward. But when you pay it forward, you have to make sure you're doing it smartly. Is that the word? I don't know. But really, it is very productive. I'm not a fan, or we shouldn't be a fan of, making people dependent on others. But you want to empower them to stand on their own feet. It's not handout. It's not handout is a handout. And so I would say one more thing before I close off. I hope it's not 30 minutes. Is that communication is very important. I see this even in Canada. Kids who are born here, brought up here, difficulty with soft skills. And I spend my days, and this guy's doing a much harder job being in Sri Lanka doing it. I do it here, a little more comfortable environment, and I just see these kids who come through high school, born here, went to universities, have difficult time communicating. You know, whether it's written form or verbal form. "Hey, Roy," like, if I ever get an email from a kid that says, "Hey, Roy," I lose my shit, right? It's not professional. But it's not their fault. They're not taught that. So communication is like laws of physics. It applies everywhere. You could have the best idea in the world. If you don't know how to pitch it, you don't have an idea. So that's the part that I learned, that my job always has been raising capital for our company. And I was the unlikely candidate to raise capital. I wasn't tall, blonde, or blue eyes, short, brown guy. And someone told me, "You can't do this because you don't know rich people, you don't speak the language properly." And the young girl said, communication matter. So no one taught me anything. So the fact that you can do that, or Platform can do that, or some of us here can do that to kids here, it's massive. That type of soft skills is never taught in school. Even just to sit down and eat properly at a business table. I didn't know how to eat. I remember I was at a conference, embarrassed to see, okay, which one is my set of forks? Which one is my water? And someone told me BMW, bread, main, water. And I never forgot that. Even I still forget something, I'm not pretty sure I would go. But these are little things that help me along the way to become slightly successful on Bay Street, because it's not about math, it's not about science, it's about front office. It's not about back office. A lot of people I know at CI work in the back office. They look like us, smarter than the guys in the front office. But the people in the front office hammering big checks, people in the back office, smarter than them, but they can't communicate. They have no soft skills. So this help needs to happen here as well as there. So thank you for doing it. Thank you for coming, and enjoy some wine. And I'm going to drink now because I don't have to talk anymore. Hey, who invited this guy? Yeah, thank you so much.